Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Wargames Geek. This week's episode is part 2 of my zombie apocalypse showcase, so if you haven't already seen it, do go and check out part 1 as well. So this week I'm showing you the military compound that I've put together, and I'll let you know where I got all the terrain pieces and vehicles from to start with. So let's have a look straight away then at this watchtower that I got from Sarissa Precision. And what I've done with that is I've just done some corrugated cardboard. I peeled off the top layer, rubbed it all down, and then tried to make the roof look like it's sort of corrugated iron, and then a little bit of a defence around the front at the base of the tower there as well. So that's your lookout tower there. I painted that with green spray, and I just then used my quick shade dip to do that. So the roof is sectional. You can take the roof off so you can fit figures in the top there. You can just about see the little lugs that they clip onto. I'll just clip those back on there now. And a little bit fiddly with one hand while I'm holding the camera. And so that's the first one. And just clips on. Oh, it does clip on. There we go. And then the other side just clips on as well. So I say I've just tried to make that have a sort of corrugated iron, rusty sort of look. And that was all just dry brushed with some rust coloured paints there to get that that first bit of building done. So I bought 4 tents from eBay. After I painted them up, I sent the images to the seller and he asked if he could use them on his listing. So if you do look up Wargame scenery, they're 28mm campaign tents, and they were £12.49 for 2. So yeah, £25 worth there. They're resin tents and look good for part of this military compound, but you know, you could paint them up for other scenarios as well, sort of historic wargaming and so on. So yeah, I've done 3 sort of standard tents, and then that 4th one there is just a sort of first aid tent, so just paint a little red cross on the top. And as I say, I'm happy with those for wargaming, tabletop wargaming standard. I think they've come out really nice. I just used a green paint on those, and then I've done the quick shade strong tone, and there we are. Just put a figure down there just to give you an idea of the scale of the tents compared to the 28mm characters. So just moving the camera along then to the next building which I've got here. That's a radar station from the Sarissa Precision range again. That was again £12.50 for that. And what I've done with that is I've painted it green all over. What I'll do is I'll just lift it up first, show you underneath. It's got a kind of disc on it so you can actually spin around on that sort of base that I've put down. I've painted that in grey to sort of represent concrete. The actual hut itself is supposed to be wooden. It's like a sort of shed, if you like. So I've left that in green, and then the rest of it I've just tried to give the impression of it being sort of almost abandoned outside, and all the metal parts are just starting to go rusty with age and neglect. So again, that was from Sarissa Precision, and yeah, so that's the radar station there, 28mm range. Nice little piece, funny little thing to put together, and once you've actually sussed it out how it all slots in together, it's a nice piece. The missile boxes are leftover bits from some old Warhammer 40k that I had laying around, and the shipping container is from Wargames tournaments. Like the radar station and the tower, it's MDF, a nice little piece, and probably something that the military would have dropped off with all their kit and supplies in. And then on the left of the screen then is the last bit. That's also from Wargames tournaments. It's a sort of water tank, or could be a fuel tank or something along those lines. I've stuck a sort of biohazard thing on the front of it, £7.95, so it's not overly expensive. It is a little bit cheap looking. These discs of MDF you glue together to make up the sort of water tank or fuel tank. I'll probably just wrap that in some thin card and repaint that. Just not really happy how that came out. It's not as smooth as I thought it'd look. So I'll pop that back down on the table, and then we'll go round and have a look at the perimeter fencing that I've put together. And there's 8 pieces of fencing. There's some lights for the compound yard, and also a sort of double gated entrance where that tank sat. So this is all from Plastcraft Games, and it's basically a prison set. So the fencing for the outside and all the lighting and stuff, that comes to £17.95. You can buy a watchtower that goes with it for £17.95 as well, but I decided to go a little bit cheaper and buy the one from Sarissa Precision for £12.50. Or you can buy a whole prison set, which is the watchtower, the fencing, the gates, and a cell block and all the bits and pieces for 195.74. I'm not going to remortgage my house for a bit of wargaming, so I've just sort of done it as cheaply as I could. So this is one of the fence sections. What I just want to show you here is that what you've got is you build up the sort of sides with their MDF, and then you glue this netting on. Now, how I did it was I used some pegs just to hold it down whilst the glue set. Otherwise, where that sort of corner joint is there, it just didn't fit into the corners very well. So just to give you an idea of how to do that, and it might help you, it might not, but yeah, I just use pegs for that, just so you can see that the mesh goes straight into those corners there. Nice little fences. What I've done with one of them is I've just sort of folded it back on itself and glued it open, just to sort of give a sort of as if it's been breached, the zombies have managed to get through. These are the lights that come in the set, so they're sort of MDF again, you glue them together, and then these little plastic inserts that go in the top there. So those are the lights for the compound. As I say, it's designed to be a prison. I'm using it as a military compound because I think it looks really nice. And at the bottom of those, they clip onto the fences as well. I talked in my last video quite a bit about vehicles and scale and that sort of thing. These are both 1/48 scale that came from eBay. I think I paid about £10 each for the two vehicles. They already came painted in this sort of sand colour, and what I'd done was I just hit them both with the quick shade dip, and once they'd completely dried off, and it's important that they do completely dry, otherwise when you put the matte varnish spray over the top, it can cause sort of a cloudy sort of effect. It doesn't look very good at all. So yeah, do make sure that the quick shade's completely dried off, and then once that's done, then you can go over it with some matte varnish just to take the shine off. So that's the tank, and yeah, pleased with how that came out. And then the other thing is I've done is this Humvee or Hummer military vehicle, and yeah, again, so, as I say, it came already painted in that colour, and it was quick shade dipped, and then some matte varnish once it had dried off. So those are the two vehicles that I'm just going to use those on the table for the survivors and the zombies to fight around. So that's the two vehicles. Looking back then at the compound, this is what I mentioned briefly before, that I'd done a sort of breach in one of the fences. So I just held that back with some PVA glue and some clothes pegs just whilst the glue set off. And it just shows these zombies now trying to force their way into the compound where the survivors are. So that's the whole lot, looking around the whole sort of set that I've put together, and I'm sure that it'll be brilliant for some future wargaming. So as always, please do like, subscribe, share, comment on the video. Your support really does help, and as always, thanks very much for watching.